Hello everyone, welcome back. We're taking another look at some more Nexxspeed products here. I want to be taking a look at the trigger and of course the magazine release as well. Extended mag release is always good. And what we're going to do, we're going to get straight into this thing. I'm using it on the same pistol just because it's the only unmodified AAP, apart from the hop unit which has gone in there, that I've got. So we'll give it a fair test. You'll see in the last video we fitted the Nexxspeed hop chamber. And today we're going to be looking at this and seeing how easy it is to do. So first we'll take a look at the mag release. Let's get this thing out here. It did make it here eventually, but it did take a while. It got shipped from Vietnam. It took a hell of a long time to get to me here in the UK. Let's see what's going on here. So it is actually fitted with a screw. Pull that off. Reveals like that. We've got, I would imagine this to be either a sacrificial plastic, which is serviceable, I imagine. So if that does wear down, I imagine they might do like replacement pieces that are really easy to service. It doesn't feel like metal, but it, I could be wrong. It could be. Maybe it is aluminium. And to do this, it's really easy. Well, I'm guessing we've got the little spring that you see on there inside the pistol, and we're going to want to unlatch that forward like so, and we can push the mag release out the side. We take the new mag release without the button on, slide that through, and then we've got to get that spring back on. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to use a little tool. Let's see if I've got one. And we just need to put that spring back on. So we pull it out like so. And there we are, we have it fitted. So you're basically taking the spring and doing a loop like that to get it back on the latch. Once that's on there, we take the button and we screw that back onto the mag release with a 2mm Allen key. Not as much travel as I thought there would be. I thought it might be a bit more extended. I don't think this is so much an extended mag release. Maybe it is a little bit extended, but it's just a chunkier button. Latches in nice. Button's nice and easy to press. Really nice and free flowing, that is. Very, very good. Really nice part, that. Now the next part is going to be a little bit more intense because we're going to have to strip all these pieces out here. We're probably going to have to take the rear of the pistol apart as well. So let's crack straight into that. We're going to need some pin punches, and we're going to need a hammer. Drop stuff on the bench as always. Tap this rear pin out, left to right, like so. Do we have to tap the other one out? I can't quite remember. I think we do. It's been a while since I've worked on an AAP. We should be able to remove the hammer housing. And then we need to remove the rest of the bits from the front. And to do that, we've got a couple of screws, one on each side, and we've also got one at the front there. We also want to strip out the safety. So we can do this by pushing it, pushing this tab down. We should be able to push it out, right to left or left to right, whichever way you're doing it. If it wants to bloody come out, let's try it the other way. I always thought you could do that both ways, but I might be mistaken. 2mm Allen key, screw on either side of the front of the lower, and we've got one in the middle that goes downwards Once we've removed that, I do tend to keep these separate even though they're probably the same size. We've got a pin, which will tap this out as well. Left to right, and then that should enable us to remove the whole assembly. Don't worry, all this stuff's dropping out all over the place. We're going to address that in a moment. And now we have the trigger out, so we need to tap this little pin here at the top. If you're looking at this being the bottom and this being the top of the trigger, we need the top pin loose. I'm going to grab a slightly smaller punch. Left to right, like the rest of them. And that will enable us to remove our trigger bar. Let's remove the packaging for the trigger. We've got grub screws, we've got a pin. There's a grub screw with a little nylon piece on there. Two grub screws, a pin. We've got a long pin, which I'm not sure what that's for. Maybe that's for you to tap the old pins out. And of course we have a really nice looking trigger. The two screws, now I'm not sure, I would imagine the one with the nylon stopper would go on the bottom. Maybe a 1.5. Like that, maybe. You would think it was like that, wouldn't you? So what we're going to do, we're going to take our trigger bar, and this is going to line up with that hole. And I'm going to tap this in the same way we did, or the opposite way we did with the standard trigger. We can place that on a flat surface, and we're going to tap this into place. Like that. I can go a little bit more. Nice and flush. Not quite yet, a little bit more. That'll do very nicely. Yeah, it would make sense that the one with the nylon or plastic stopper would go at the bottom, because this screw isn't going to engage. Your adjustment screw isn't going to engage from the flat. It's almost going to engage from the side. We can screw this into place. It's also shorter than the bottom one. Okie dokie. Now, this is where a bit of the finger gymnastics comes into place. We're going to have to line this spring up on this side whilst holding it on the trigger. And then of course we've got the spring for the trigger bar as well. Slide this on, slide it all into position, put the spring, connect the spring to the housing, like that. And then we're going to try and get this all in one go, because if anything pops out, you got to go again. So that's just the button for the back. It looks like we've managed to do it. We're going to take the large pin, push it in from right to left, whilst locating all these parts in the right place, like that. Once you've got it in, we're going to tap it into place. Got our button that fell out the back. And then what I think I'm going to do before I fit the screws at the front is I am going to fit the hammer housing in. And we maneuver this into place. If it wants to do it. Like that. You're going to go in. Yep. There we go. Slots into place. Just need to make sure everything's lined up. Put these two rear pins in like that. And then we've got main screw at the front. Screw that into the frame. And then we've got the two on the sides. Dead simple. Like that. Take out safety. Push it in from right to left. Click this back into place like so. And there we have our trigger fitted. So it all engages, everything works. And you've got two grub screws. So you'll see there, if I cock the hammer and get all the sears and the valve knocker set in place, you'll see we've got some take up like that. And the way that we remove this is with the top grub screw. So what we're going to do, it might not be super easy once it's fitted. We're just going to wind that in slightly. And you'll see now the take up is very small. Now you need to be careful how far you go with this, because if the take up's so small, sometimes the trigger won't reset. So I'm going to try to back that out slightly. So we've got a little bit of play. And then this is your trigger stop. So we'll see. We can go in a little bit further with that one. And this is basically stopping your trigger over travel. So we can wind that in. We can do it a little bit more. Try it again. Now you'll see there, if I hold the trigger down, if I try and push all those buttons down, that it's not causing any issue, so the trigger has reset. Then you would come off the trigger, it resets, and stops again. So we could probably go a little bit further on the backstop screw. And the way you want to test this is you just want to fire it, and it's basically reducing the amount of over travel of the trigger, because you could, without that grub screw there, you could very much push this all the way in. And let's get the upper on so we can test this. So the pistol's cocked, you've got that slight bit of take up, it's very slight. We could try and get that to go further, and what we want to do is we just ever so slightly wind that screw in. And now there's like very minimal take up, it's almost negligible. It's a very, very nice trigger. I really like that. The contact area on your trigger finger, it kind of looks like it thins out, but it really does. It's nice and comfortable. The brake's nice. I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel here. It is, you know, the same system that many other companies have done before it. Little tiny adjustment screw there, which reduces the amount of take up you've got on the trigger. So if basically what that means is if we back that all the way out, we'd have quite a lot of trigger travel before we get to the brake. And then we've just got the bottom screw to stop you over pulling it, because the less amount of over travel you have with the trigger, it's going to feel better on the reset. Because there's not as much travel, you're not having to pull it as far. And in my experience, that means you can get on the trigger much faster. That is a very, very nice trigger. So we've got the trigger, we've got the mag release, and we've got the hop unit. So I hope this guide has helped you if you're fitting these parts into your AAP-01. Let me know what you think about these Nexxspeed products down in the comments below. There are shops all around Hong Kong and everything at the moment where you can get these off the shelf, like JK Army, WGC, I'm pretty sure. Just be aware that if you're, you know, in the UK or Europe, the stuff's coming from Vietnam, there's a chance it's going to take a long time to get to you. Thanks for tuning into this video. I'm going to get that little box and we can put our mag release in and our trigger for spares. They work on a very similar trigger to, you know, a Glock 17. So, you know, if you're running a G17 model, there's a chance this trigger will work absolutely fine for that as well. Hope you've enjoyed it. I think that bar was just to tap the pin out. I can't think of any other use it has. You do have a spare Allen key that comes with it. I'm trying to consciously tidy things up as I go so this bench doesn't get wildly out of control again. If you want to see me do more upgrade parts for this platform, let me know in the comments below. I'll be building up some more 3D printed kits. I've got the Gepard and the PM9. I do also have the parts for the PPK, but the kit is just that rubbish. I don't really feel like covering it at all. So, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out the links in the description below. And as always, from me and from Bench, we'll see you in the next video.